Good everybody. Good. Welcome to Thrive 2026. I'll try not to put my hands on my hips. Try. It's a challenging thing. This is the first in a series of 6 speaker sessions that are run throughout 2026. Click through. So we have a health and safety routine process here. If there's an emergency happens, there's a door at the back there, right behind the pillar, and we'll walk down the ramp just here. I won't get outside and walk. It's a bit damp. And we'll meet down at the bike shed. If you need to go to the toilet, there is, just pop out the door, don't be shy, and pop across the foyer, cafe, and there's the toilets just there.
And there's accessible bathrooms just to the right as you come out.
And that's Amy. She's cool. Thank you, Amy. So, tēnā koutou katoa, haere mai, ki tēnei hui. Welcome to today's hui meeting. Today we're going to present our today is the first series, the first speaker series of a long speaker series in 2026. In the last year, Thrive has developed many programs to enable us to be authentic to our people. These people, who we define, are defined by us as survivors of a life-changing brain event. And as well, they could be the carers of survivors of life-changing brain events. So, a little flash bubble. We do the speaker series, which we're running today, which you're a part of. We do the Thrive Chats, which is a monthly session where we get together with a group of people. Generally, it's grown out of the speaker series, and that is a really nice way to get in with a nice group of people and just chat about what's on top. A lot of people ask me, what do we talk about? We talk about life, we talk about whatever's on top, we talk about the challenges of living with your particular condition, whatever that may be. We have Thrive Active. Now this had its first session last week at the Botanic Gardens, and we had a spectacular couple of hours. We went walking in the Botanic Gardens. I put my hand up. I've arguably never been there to go for a walk. So I've lived in Christchurch for a decent amount of time. But I've been to Christ College, I've been to Hagley Park, I run around Hagley Park, but I've never been to that beautiful Botanic Garden. And that probably tells you that I'm not a great gardener. I'm a good weed remover, but not a great gardener. But I was blown away, we were blown away by the accessibility, by the beauty, there you go, by the beauty of being at the Botanic Gardens. And it was a peaceful, calm, lovely place to be with a great group of people. We have a Thrive website that is currently in development. It is up and down, but it's getting to the point where it's going to be a one-stop shop for everybody to go to. And that's going to make a big difference. Oh, I had to press the button twice. We have Thrive Pod that's in development. I'm working with a couple of people on this, and we're just getting together. Who here listens to podcasts? We've got a few, good, cool. So we just need to get the podcast working. I'm not sure whether I'm going to host it or whether I'm going to get somebody here to host it. I haven't quite worked that out. I'll put my hand up, but had too much support on that. We'll see how that goes. So that will come up in the next month or so. Thrive Right. This is where a lot of people with neurological injuries or conditions or problems struggle to tell their story. I struggled for years to tell my story. It was a harrowing thing for me to tell to people. So, and eventually I wrote it down, and I've got a few pages that I've written, but I've not yet published it. I'm going to encourage people. I know we've got people in the room today who write their stories, who get their stories down on paper, and that's a lot stronger for people to a lot stronger process for people to be able to deal with the different things that have gone on for them. So Thrive Right is another thing that we're starting up, and finally Thrive Youth. And there's another one, isn't there? There's Thrive Youth, which is all of those people that are a little bit younger than us, that may be probably aimed at those school-age children. The children that I see on my relieving, and I go about and I know that they've had a head injury. I know that they're finding life tough. And I know that we can offer them support. So it's that's Thrive Youth. And then finally, Amy, what do we come up with? Just now. We thought, well, missed that one. Thrive Carers. This is a huge part of all of our success and ongoing. Success is the people who care for, people who are there to support each and every one of us in this journey. Because it's more than our journey. It is my wife's journey, it is my children's journey, it is my family's journey. And just like that, for each of you, it's all of your journeys as well. Let's plug out. That's pretty cool. I'm going to read a lot. I'm sorry. It says written up there. Do you want to just read that and I'll just be quiet? Thrive is a community built by and for people living with an accidental or acquired neurological condition. It is totally focused on one thing and one thing only. You living your best life in your place and at your place and at your pace. Sorry. Thrive is not a living institution. It is about addressing the needs of people who live outside of those institutions, who are trying to make the most of their life, who, with the help of Thrive, can theoretically guide themselves into living their best life. It is anchored by a theory. We challenge whether that word is the right word. By a theory that is created by you and for you. When I say by you, it is created by me. It is created by me with the assistance of the Thrive Chat Group. It is called the 5 Pillars of Health at Thrive. Bit of a mouthful, isn't it? It is based on the premise that when you have a conscious balance of move, rest, chat, mood, and my personal favourite, food, you will be in a better mental health space and will have improved mental fitness. And I stole mental fitness from Ted Fieldbush from one of his publications last year. So I'm going to just go into a little bit the 5 pillars of health at Thrive. Our anchor pillar, or our roof really, is mental health. That is, sorry, I'm in the middle. That is the focus for everything. We want to ensure that everyone's in a good state of mind. I don't use mental health as a derogatory term. I do it as a positive term. That is a way for everyone to realise who they are and what they are and where they're going. We then anchor it with 5 pillars. These are the 5 pillars I've talked about: move, rest, chat, mood, and food. Super important. I'm sure many of us can think of other things that are really important to them, but I would challenge whether they can't fit into this. Your ability to move, your ability to rest, your ability to chat, our ability to come and connect with each other, talk, eye contact. That little simple thing is huge. Mood. That has so much influence on that. The positive conversations that I have when I meet all of you today. It's fantastic. And it makes me feel so much better. And finally, pillar 5, what is it? You know that. The beautiful food. Okay? just like the rest of the pillars, the 4 pillars before, they are very, very important. It is very, very important. All right. Today we feature pillar 1, which is to move often and a lot, regardless of any limitations you have, to improve our mental health. So it's the concept, are we going to get outside and run around the track? A, it's raining. B, no, we're not going to do that. That's not what move is. Our guest speaker today is someone I believe epitomises this in many aspects. His personal training company is called Oxygen and Energy. And I think these 2 words alone sum up his passion and holistic approach to movement. I look forward to what he has to say, what he has in place for us today. What does move look like for you? I want you just to think about this. Just internally think, what does move look like for you? Take a minute. I'm going to make it a little uncomfortable now. I'm not going to ask you to talk to the rest of us. I'm going to ask you to talk to the person next to you. Okay? Tell them, what does move mean for you, for you now? To tell them. Okay. To me, I could have probably left you there all morning because you were really going for it. It's good. Sorry, Joan, I need to interrupt you. Sorry. It's great to hear and see and witness you talk about move, because I think it's a really engaging word. Move to thrive. I'm going to introduce someone to you. He wanted to do a big, down the middle, big entrance. He can still do that if he wants. Or he can just come on. Charlie Cremen, I know Charlie. He's actually a personal trainer at the gym I attend. He writes programs for me. He looks at me when I'm doing them and probably laughs at me. But that's all right. He's written a wee phrase down there which I'll use to introduce him to you. My work is guided by a simple yet powerful passion to help others access their own energy, deepen their sense of connection, and fully embrace the life unfolding before them. I think that's a really strong piece of writing. It's a really strong message that we can all take in. Have I just gone back? Sorry. So, I can do everything. Without a moment of delay, I'm going to ask Charlie Cremen to come on up, give him a hand, everyone, and he's going to take Come to you. Oh! Do you want me to quit?
Thanks, guys. That was a great intro. Thanks. What's your name? Great.
John.
That was good. I like the way you said, you started off and said, what does movement mean to you? And I sat there and I thought, I couldn't come up with an answer. It was really quite difficult to do that because movement means so much. It's got so much depth to it. You know, we talk about movement, I'm moving here, the body's moving, but there's so much more to what happens. I guess it's that interplay between, you know, the inner self and the outer self, or the inner part of you and the body. And I think that's probably why I felt it so difficult to come up with something.
Sorry.
And I guess it. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, we just each carry.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. Just
Okay. Okay. So I guess it depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to someone, and they want to know about physical things, like I'll have somebody constantly through the day I'll have a new person come in and I'll interview them for what they want. And so depending on who comes to me and sits in front of me, depends on how I respond to them. So if someone says, oh, I want to lose weight, so then okay, that's where I go down there. I want to get some muscles, and then somebody else might come in and they might have some struggle with life. It might be it's like some of you might have some movement struggle. So I'll address you how you come to me. So I don't really care where you are on the spectrum of movement. You could be an Olympian, I can still work with you, or you could be a total beginner, and I can work with you, because it's just what comes to me in front of me, and that's how I would start. That's how I would start with whoever was in front of me. So, yeah, so movement, what does movement mean to me? It's a difficult one, but I hope just in that little explanation there, that might give you a bit of an idea of where I'm coming from. Now, the first, what I want to do before I start is to, this is
We need to put a little pulse down there,
Yeah.
so stand there.
is to do an exercise, and it was some of the activities that I've put together. I'm not sure where everybody's at, so I'm not sure what you can and can't do. So you can do it sitting, you can do it standing, and I even went down to the estuary, which is just in front of the gym, and I brought some stones, so you can use these stones, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little exercise where we're going to learn, if you don't already know how to do this, we're going to learn to center. Okay, so if you can stand, then stand. You don't have to, you can sit, there's no rules here, because this centering is something you can do walking, running, skipping, sitting, lying, okay, it doesn't really matter. So, everybody standing? Yes? Okay. So, sitting's fine. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, if you're able to, you don't need to, but if you can, close your eyes, and I want you to get into a visualization with me. And the visualization is that you can imagine, say, the Empire State Building. Now, this might be a bit scary for some of you, but you're on top of the Empire State Building. There's always a flag. And at the top of the flagpole, there's this big ball. So you can see flagpole, big ball. And you have to be standing on that flagpole. Some of you are already a bit nervous. But you're quite safe. I can assure you, quite safe. And so in your mind's eye, you can look down to the bottom of the building, and you can see the cars going around the building. You can see people, little dots on the ground there, going around the building, cars going back and forth. And what I want you to do, you're standing there and there's a slight breeze blowing you forward. And I want you just to feel that breeze blow you forward. Then the breeze stops, but then it starts to blow you backwards. So it blows you backwards. And blows you forward again. And blows you back. And blows you now to the side. Either side's fine. Just to one side, it's still blowing to one side. And then it's going to blow you to the other side. You can see the cars down there, you can see the people still, and it blows you back to the other side again, and back to the side again. And the wind slowly dies down, and now you're standing right in the middle of this flagpole. Dead smack right in the middle. If you had a plumb line, you could put that plumb line right to the center of that ball, right through the center of your head, still seeing the cars, still seeing the people. And you can see in your mind's eye the very center point of where you're standing. Okay. And slowly, if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. I want you to slowly, with that feeling, I want you to sit down. With that feeling, sit down. So I watched a few of you there doing that. I watched you slowly move deeper and deeper into a really relaxed state. Especially noticed you, I was watching you. That was you were turning around. And I watched the way you sat down. And the reason why I say that, I hope you don't mind, is that when he sat down really relaxed. And he sat down, what I observed anyways, from his squatting down to the seat, he sat down really centered. When the body's centered, when it moves, say, through a squat position or a sitting down position, the levers at the ankle, the knees, and the hips do it evenly. So if you look at somebody, if you know what a nice squat looks like, you'll watch them go down, and all three levers go down at a really nice position, I guess. So the biomechanics of the body are in the right spaces. There's no tension. Like if I was to sit down in not a centered place, then I would do something like this. I would do something like this. I would do this sort of thing. So you can see I've gone down, sat down, and I'm not really bending, and I'm falling down at the bottom there. But the way he was sitting, he just was nice and relaxed, and he just bent. And you can see, if you can look there, I'm standing right over my center of gravity. So a centered position is not only a mental state, but the physical state can also be in a centered position as well. If you watch somebody in the flow, if they're, I was watching the Winter Olympics, and I was watching the pairs, what are they called? The paired ice skaters. And sorry? Figure skate, yes. And there was the French one. They were just beautiful to watch, just gorgeous. They were just the way they moved and the flow of their movement, and it was not just a physical thing. You could see the emotion that they were coming from. You could just see there, and the way they moved together. They were both working, if you like, with each other's center. So they were just like one flow of water, one eddy of water moving into another. It was really quite beautiful to watch. So centering, we look at here like a very small movement, like a squat, and you can translate that right to the nth level of an Olympian or somebody else with full emotion and full commitment into a movement, and look at the beauty behind it. So, like I say, when I talk about movement's it's quite deep. It can be as simple as a squat, it can be as simple as standing. I went to a talk by Iyengar. He's if you're into yoga, you'll know about Iyengar yoga, and he said the most important posture in yoga, in hatha yoga, that's the standing postures, was the one that we just did then, Tadasana, which is the first posture that you learn, which is a standing posture. And if you can't do this posture right, you can't do any postures right. And that stuck with me. I didn't know what it meant at the time I heard it, but it stuck with me. Something about it made me really search for what he was saying. And what he was getting at was, what I've come to learn from it is that the depth of it is really hard to explain, but it's the going deeper and deeper and deeper into a still mind, then the body becomes still. When my wife and I, and another fellow, we opened up a yoga school many years ago, back in the early 80s in Christchurch. So if you're from Christchurch, you may have heard of the yoga room. We opened that up with another woman, Wendy Brown, who's passed a few years back now. We left it after a couple of years and went overseas. And we used to do headstands. And we would do headstands for 45 minutes. So And to do a headstand for 45 minutes, you can't be thinking about shopping or your troubles, or you have to become very, very, very still for that to happen. And so just like you became very still in that movement where you moved backwards and forwards and whatever, and you became more and more still, even somewhat still, if not very still, somewhat still than you were when you first came in. So, yeah, what I learned from that particular incident with Inga was the importance of centering. At the same time, about the same time, my wife and I were doing some martial arts. We were doing Aikido. And Aikido is another martial art that really focuses on centering as well. And I was just doing it for fun. I really loved it. It was such a fun martial art. We didn't do it for the martial aspect. I did it for the centering and the energy aspect of it all. The energy aspect of it was how you were able to, if someone was to come at you, you would, in a sense, feel their center and move their center around yours, just like the figure skaters were doing. They just moved around each other. It's exactly the same feel with that, and in the process of that, then a move would be executed. And the more you got into the centering, or the less you got into the centering. If I wasn't centered and I was doing that movement, then the movement would be quite jerky. It wouldn't flow like two lots of water eddying together. You would never get that feeling of it. So the Aikido that I learned and the yoga that I learned really were game changers in terms of how I started to view movement. And just at this point, I want to say it doesn't matter. I want to reinforce this again. It doesn't matter on what part of the spectrum your movement is from. Where I come from in my training of people is I'm looking at where you are at and moving with your center, whatever that center is. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna move on to my next slide. That's my first slide. We've just done the centering, sit, stand, empire state. And the reason I said if you wanted to, you could use stones. You know, like, I don't know whether you've ever seen, probably if you've done any walking through the country, you'll see as you get to some riverbed, people will put stones up on top of each other so they give you some direction of where to go. Now, if you were to do that movement yourself, there's some people who do art forms with stones, and that's probably what I'd love to see, is that if you were to place one stone on and then get another stone and put the other stone on, and then the next stone on, if you get a feel for what I'm saying, when you put the next stone on, you have to feel the center of that stone and put it onto the next one. And you have to feel where the balance point is for that to actually stay there. And then you get another stone and put that on top. You actually have to now feel the center point of that stone on and the next one. And it goes on and on. The next stone, next stone. There's some beautiful, if you get onto the net, you can see some beautiful pictures of, and I don't think I've got one that's not really but it's that type of thing where you place, I couldn't find it. I went looking for it. I had pictures in my photo library, and I've got about 5,000 photos in there, so if you think I could find them, no, I couldn't. But to put stones on top of each other, you have to go into and feel centered yourself before to be able to do that with another stone. I'm going to digress a little bit. I wasn't going to go, but if you were now to talk to another person, it's the same thing. If you want to create a deeper connection with the other person, then if you're centered, you tend to then have the other person move into a centered place as well. Or you can help them in that sense to do that, because if you're all over the place and they're going, oh my God, they're going to be doing the same. But if you become more and more relaxed in yourself and become more centered in that person, then you'll have the same thing. So just like the stones, if you can put get one stone, put it on top of another, then it number one will teach you what centering is. Number two, in terms of relationships, then you can use that same principle in how you be with or respond to, be with another person in a relationship. Now, I want you to stay with me because some of you might have come here thinking we're going to come in here and do calisthenics or something, and we're not. That's not where I'm going to go today. So if that's what you came for, we will do a little bit of activity, but not very much. And the reason why I want to go there is that if you don't understand why in movement, then it's not much point. It's a bit like giving you a fish and feeding you and teaching you to fish, and you can fish for life. So that's sort of that analogy, if you like. You've probably heard that before, is where I want to come from. If I can impart to you what I've learned about movement, what I know about this is a tool to help you connect, to help you get energy, deepen relationships, and the main thing for me is can you increase energy from this? Can you have I love this title that we use here. I guess I'm part of this now. We use here is thrive. It's a great word. You think about thrive. If you think about that as a word, when you think about any word carries some sort of energy behind it. So you think about thrive, you don't go, ooh, thrive. You don't do that, do you? You have thrive. It's like you feel the energy behind it. So it's a great, and it's a great word. It's a great word that I think I'm trying to impart here so that you can aspire towards that. Now I'm not going to hit that next one. I'm going to look at it. What it is. Oh, this is my mum. I don't think it's going to play. It's not going to play. I lost all the animations. This is my mum. She's 95, and here she is. I wish I could joke. She's laughing hysterically about something. My sister starts laughing as well. She's killing herself laughing. And my mum at this point, she's never been into fitness. She's never been into, but she's got this exuberance, and she's got more and more exuberance as she's gotten older, and more passion for life. She's off now looking at art classes and things like that. And she knows she's losing some of the faculties for memory and stuff, but she's still so passionate about not life itself. I think what I want to go back here, people think life is like, I've got to get my life together. That's gone for her. She can't remember what she had an hour ago for a coffee, being for a coffee. But in the moment she's with you, she's totally with you. And she's just so excited to see you and so present. And it's about, that's what I think, what we really should be looking for is that how we respond to the moment in front of us. And that's where I have to start with Mum here. She does. She really does that so well. Right. I don't think I'm going to be able to play these. I really want to do this here like this because put this back here. I don't think so. Just give me one moment. Because it's not animated, I'll be giving you the whole slide before you, and it'll sort of spoil the fun. So. Right, here we go. One moment. Right. All right, so my next thing I want to talk about, what that leads me, that slide there, is that is energy. So in my card, Craig showed you that my card says oxygen energy. Basically, that analogy is for body and mind. Okay, oxygen being the body and energy being the mind or soul part of it. Everybody wants energy. You know, that's why you come here. You don't come here and go, you know, I want to move so I can be sadder and sit around more. You want to get energy so you can get up and do things and explore things. That's what you want. You want it. But then how do you get it? And how did you lose it? How did we lose it? You know, when we were this big, we ran around and we tripped and we fell over, we got straight back up again. But as we've gotten older, we sort of close down. We get locked into what we can and can't do. We get locked into what we should and shouldn't do. What's right and wrong, what's good and bad, and all that sort of thing. We get locked down into a little box here, and that's where we move from. And that's our limitation. And the limitation then becomes, this is who I am. I just don't run. I'm just not a runner. Or I don't swim. I'm just not a swimmer. Or I am a swimmer, or whatever. But you box yourself into these little categories, and in that boxing of your categories, you limit the amount of energy that you can tap into. So let's have a look here. I might have to get onto it. Oh, there it is. There she is, laughing away, but there's no sound. There is it. Let's do it again. Is there sound? You might as well enjoy this since I purposely got it. Maybe. Do I play it? She's 96 actually, she's not 95. That's my sister in the back here. Okay. So, energy, we all want it. We look at that, we go, wow, that's great, I love that. You just start laughing as well, you just want to be part of that. We all want it. As a child, we ran around all day. And we think, some of the things we think, we get the car, yes, that's going to be it. I'm going to love this car. You get the car, then that's not quite it. So you get the next car, you get the next car, you get the house. You go, when I get the house, then I'm going to be really on top of it. I'm going to have this energy going through me. Then comes all sorts of responsibility. You get the house, and then the family, and then and then the energy slowly closes down. Then we become really smart. Boy, we know our stuff. We know what we know, because we've been around the block. So you tell me, yeah, I know all about that. You should never blah blah blah. And you then box in even more because you know stuff about stuff. We don't really know stuff about stuff, but we like to think we know stuff about stuff. So life's not like that. Life sort of rolls in like a wave at the beach. Okay? And when we get to the beach, but we're the type of person that says we start to have an opinion and a reaction, positive and negative, about that wave. So we've had rain. I thought rain was great. I thought that would be a great example. So with rain, you get the farmer. The farmer goes, yes, we've got rain. So the energy goes up because the rain is good. For the bride, I'm using this, I hope nobody's offended, but the bride this is her day, this was going to be the day that she was going to be the best day out, and so she's destroyed by the rain. But it's still the same rain. It's still the same wave. It's still the same event that comes into your life. And so when the event comes into your life, you go, like Craig comes in and goes, yay! And I go, oh, geez, that's terrible, That's same rain, but the reactions are totally different. So is the rain at fault here? Like who's actually making the decision that my energy goes up or my energy goes down based on the event that arises in front of us. So the event being the rain, and you go, I go up, or he goes up and I go down, or someone doesn't care. So it's not really the event itself. The event is just the event. The next event comes in, life just goes to the next event, the next event comes in, and then we bump into that event, we bump into it based on our conditioning or whatever. We look at it, and then our energy goes up or down. If I'm a farmer, I love the rain, and it goes up all the time. If I'm a cyclist, I'm a sunny day cyclist. If I cycle, I hate the rain. I don't want to go out in the rain. So I'll go down. My energy goes down. So we allow the moment that comes in of life to lift us or deplete our energy. Now, I'd like to stop there, and I'd like to stop there and just go home, because I could leave it just there, because that's just so important and so hard to grasp. Because it's so hard to grasp because we're so conditioned to the fact that something made me feel this way, something made me lift up or come down. Yeah.
It's got to be present in that moment of life.
Yes. Definitely, yeah. So it doesn't mean that, say for instance, the rain comes in and it starts to leak through your house. It doesn't mean you go, hey, it's the rain, yay, No, you go out and fix the house up. You go and fix up the hole. But how look, the rain's going to come in. It came in anyways. But how you deal with that is going to be the amount of energy that you allow yourself to have. But where you come from, how you perceive it is going to decide whether you go up or down with it. So the first number one, firstly, you must see that you're giving your power over to the moment, and then blaming or thanking life for the energy state that we get. That's the number one. If you can't get that, then that's probably where I stop. You need to actually see that you're opening or closing to the moment that's arising in front of you. The rain doesn't make us sad. Otherwise, everybody would be sad when it rains. The wave coming in, doesn't make you sad. Doesn't make you happy. It might make the surfer happy because he wants waves. If it doesn't come in, then he's sad. But it's not the wave's fault. It's not the moment's fault that's coming in, that's rising or closing your energy. When you start to see that and start to feel and see in the instances where you're rising and opening or closing yourself to the event that's coming in, at that point is where you start to get control of an agency over your energy. And so if you really want energy, you can't go out and change the rain. You can't stop the rain. You can't stop the wave coming in. You can't stop the next event from coming in. If you remember, we all had our plans back in 2011, we all had our plans. We're going, right, we're going to do that, and all of a sudden an earthquake came through and changed the whole of Christchurch. Nobody knew that was going to happen. Nobody knew COVID was going to happen. Nobody knew. And yet when it came in, these are two big examples of where you can really see that you have no control over the next moment. But it opened or closed us to how we responded to the next event in our life. So when you start to see that you're the one, and at that point where you see that you're the one who's opening and closing, then you'll start to get agency over your own energy. Okay? So I want to stay with that. And this is not easy stuff. So in the narrative around the farmer says, yeah, it's going to be a bumper harvest, and the bride says the wedding's ruined. Oh my God. Examples: caught in freezing rain. If you're caught in the freezing rain just outside there, if you're just 100 metres down the road, what does your mind say? Your mind says, it's only 100 metres, yeah, I can do that. But if you're caught in the middle of who knows where, and the freezing rain comes down, and you don't know how long to go or how far to go, then your mind doesn't have a way of creating a narrative where it can open you up to this new energy that you can run forward to get home. Like if you know there's only 100 metres, you go, yes, I can say 100 metres, I can get there easy. You open back up again. But if you go, oh my God, where am I? How far away is from home? Oh my God, I'm getting soaked, blah, blah, blah. And then you start to close down. So the narrative that you start to create inside is a way that you can go inside and change the way that you perceive the event, because the event's still happening, still freezing rain, but you can then change the way and give yourself energy for that moment, and then, if you like, enjoy what's going on. If it's just raining, it was 100 minutes ago, run. But if it was a full 5 miles ago, then you might be a little bit more disappointed or you don't know where you are. There was a mice experiment. The mice experiment, now I can't remember the exact detail, so forgive me if somebody knows it and you can speak for me if you like. But the mice experiment was, they had these mice, terrible people, these scientists, they put these mice in water, and let's just pretend that they didn't drown, okay? Because I don't know whether they drowned or not, but I'm going to say they didn't drown. But they put them in this bucket of water and timed them to see how long they could last. And it was something like minutes. And in the minutes, a few minutes later, the mice were drowning. And that's to say, they grabbed them all and took them out. Now, again, I don't know the exact detail of it. The next experiment they did, they took some mice again. And I'm going to assume they took different mice. No, it's the same mice. It was the same mice. They took, so after two minutes, they saved the mice and took them out. So what they did then is they put the mice back in again, the water again, let's say the next day. And the mice then swam for hours and hours and hours later. Now I can't remember the number of hours, but I'm going to say it was 12, but it might have been less. But it was miles more hours than the 3 minutes or whatever that they decided that they could last for. Now why am I saying that? Why I'm saying that is the narrative that what the mice knew is that someone was going to save them. Now in the first instance, nobody was going to save them. They just said they drowned. But in their mind, they knew that somebody was going to save them. But this is what the experiment pointed out. So if the narrative changes, the energy can rise. You have more energy. There was a story, I read the book, and I can't remember the All Blacks brother's name, where he was stuck out, he went out scuba diving, came up, and when he came out, the boat was not there. So he'd obviously been swept down by some current or whatever, came up and he wasn't able to be found. Sorry, the boat wasn't able to be found. And the story, sorry? Norm Hewitt's brother was there. And apparently he stayed in the water for 72 hours. Now I want you to think about that. That's night and day in the middle of the ocean for 72 hours. Now, probably in your imagination you're going, oh my God, I'd last 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever, and that would be it. That's what your mind's saying. Now he must have had something going on inside his psyche, inside his mind, that allowed him to continually exert energy, give energy to this ability to stay in the water and keep on swimming. Think about it. Like you go all day and then all night and you think, right, there's one night, that's 48 hours. And then you go all day again and you must be thinking, think about it, all day, swimming, paddling in the water, and then all night again. And apparently at that point, he was delirious and whatever, and was eventually picked up. But that story blows me away. When you think you've got no energy, your energy is always there. There's always energy. You know, if you go, oh, no, I can't be bothered, blah, blah, blah. If I said, look, here's $100,000, you know, go for a walk or something like that. You go, oh, geez, $100,000, I can do that, you know, I'll do whatever. Because you say you've got no energy to do it, but with the right narrative, if you like, with the right key that goes in, opens you up, then suddenly now this energy comes through. Just like, say, Norm Hewitt's brother. Just like that example there. It wouldn't matter what example. You could think the example yourself where you absolutely went, no, there's no way I'll do it. There's no chance I'll do it. And then, bang, you know, $100,000. Yeah, I think I could find some energy for that. Well, why couldn't you find energy for that? You had no energy before. Why can you do that? If you run a long race, the lotto ticket's probably better. The running races, I've already given you an example of something like that. But the lotto ticket, about 20 years ago, might have been 25 years ago, I bought a lotto ticket. My wife and son were in Canada. I bought a lotto ticket, and we used to buy regular lotto tickets. And usually you get a lotto ticket, you go, waiting for that. No, you missed out or whatever. This is what my mind I can see it doing it. Anyways, they said, oh, you won. Great, fantastic. My energy went up. And then they said, you won $374. I went, yes, $374. That's great. Usually, what's the most you win? $35 or something like that. I don't know if you do lotto. It's about $35 is a good payout. I went, $370. That's fantastic. And I said, how many balls did I get? And the woman said, you got 5 balls. I said, 5 balls? And I only got $374? Now look at me. I'm starting to close. $374? Well, apparently, I wish I kept the ticket so you really believe me. There was apparently like 900 people got that same number. So I had to split up $161,000 between all of us. So suddenly I was like, yes, $374, yay! I'm excited, energy's up. Then I found out what I could have won, and my energy closed down. So who did that? You know, the ticket was still the ticket. I had the ticket in my pocket for a few days, maybe half a week or so. I didn't know I was walking around with it. It could have been $161,000 I was walking around with. I didn't even know, but I didn't know. So at that moment, my energy changed in instances. You know, right up, right down, right up, right down. So the narrative that I have is a negative narrative will increase my energy, and a positive narrative will increase it, a negative one will decrease it. And it's really important that you actually start to see that, because that's as part of movement. Movement's not just moving; it's energy. So if you start to see that you're in charge of the states, your energy, by how the narratives that you have around the event that's coming to you, then you can start to get agency over the quality of the next moment that comes to you, or that moment and the next moment. Because you're in charge of how you respond through each one. Okay. So, the event hasn't changed, okay? The event hasn't changed. The ticket hadn't changed. The race hadn't changed. The race I was going to give. You've got a 10K race, and you've got 5K, a half marathon. You've got 5K to go. Oh my God, how am I going to do that 5K? Oh my God, I'm so tired. How am I going to do it? Wait a minute. That's just 5 kilometers, 1 kilometers. I can do 1 kilometer. Yeah, I can do one. It's only 5 of them. Yeah, okay. And off I go. My energy opens back up again. It's still the same 5Ks. It's still the same lotto ticket. It's still the same rain. It's still the same event. Each one of those, I've got the choice to how I change the narrative around that event that's going to increase my energy. So you're now in the driver's seat, the journey begins. Now that you see that it's been you that's opened or closed your enemy, you can't. Now you have to see it first. If you don't see it and you think it's a load of whatever, then you can't move on. You can't get in charge of it. You can't grab that. You can't, when I talk about fitness, fitness is this. Fitness is energy. You might go out and do runs, but when you go for a run, what do? You run 100 metres and then stop. Oh my God, they're so tired. I'm not good. I'll do another 100 metres. Yeah. Oh my God, it's getting so hard. Then you stop again. Then what do? You do 200 metres, 300 metres, one. And all you're doing, if you forget about the run and look at what the mind's doing and look what's going on there, and then you work with that part of it, take your mind for a run. Don't take your body for a run. Take your mind for a run. And your mind's going, oh my God, you go, right, wait a minute. Just relax. You can do this. That's a really good affirmation, or you can do this. If you go, you can do this, you go, right, you open back up again. So you run 100 metres, yep, that's enough, yeah, good, that was great, John. Yeah, that self-talk back there opens up your energy. What you're after is the energy. The tool you're using right now is playing with this up here, letting this be the tool that actually helps you open up to it. You're still doing the run. The run's still a kilometre or 5 kilometres or whatever it is. The event's still coming, but you're starting to see that the narrative inside and how you, looking at the narrative and changing it, can change the energy of it. Then just talking about fitness alone, you can actually then look at your fitness, look at, say your movement, you're struggling with movement, look at your movement, go, right, what can I do? What's the smallest thing I can do that can actually get you to the next step? If you're going to cross the river and it's from there to there, you can't jump across there. What's the smallest step I can make to get across there? What's the smallest step I can do to run a kilometre? What's the smallest step I can do to get up out of my chair? What's the smallest step I need to do? You can always do the smallest step.
So is it self-talk?
Yeah, that's one of the terms that people use as self-talk. There's a chat going on up here all the time, and it's telling you,
It's like
oh, I
you
can't do
can be your best friend or your worst friend.
Yeah. And that best friend and worst critic is the mind up there. It's not you, it's your mind up there. And your mind up there, depending on the story about which one do you feed. Do you feed the negative one or the positive one? Well, if you want energy, you're going to feed the positive one, aren't you? If you sit in the chair and you want to do an exercise routine, or you want to start doing exercise and I can't be bothered, that's the negative one that you're looking at. That's the negative narrative. And there's no energy in the negative narrative. It doesn't mean, I'm not actually judging that either. I'm not saying one's good and one's bad. I'm saying if you decide to focus on the negative one, then the negative one is going to sit in the chair. But if you decide you want to do, say, an exercise regime, you actually have to take the focus off the narrative that says, I just want to sit down here, to say, I want to get up and get out of the chair. They're just two different focuses that you focus on. You either focus on this one here or focus on this one here. I'm not judging, I'm just saying, if you focus on this one here, you're going to sit in the chair. If you focus on this one here, you're going to get out of the chair.
How much does the endorphins?
I believe that the endorphins come up because of that. So because you start to think better, then your endorphins are going to rise, rather than the other way around.
So you're saying that move, once you get into that move state, that's when your endorphins rise?
You have to, and we're going to get into that in a minute, you actually have to make a decision first. You can't just, if you move, to move your hand, you actually have to make something, you have to say something here, I'm going to move my hand. You have to say that. So you have to do something inside, you have to commit to the movement, you have to use your will first to do it. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to suddenly get fit. Nobody's suddenly got muscles. Nobody's suddenly lost weight. Nobody suddenly got fit. You actually have to decide and then move forward. So I'm going to go. We're probably ready to move into that. Okay, so this is where you've got in mind. It's just an incredible computer. The difference between, and it is a computer. It's not you. You're not it. It's not. It's a computer. The difference between saying, doing, and being. If I say to you, I say to Craig. I'll use Craig because that's the only person that's heard by the person's name. I know. Yeah, I could do. But I'll use you safer. I know you. So if I said to Craig, do you think sometime you could run an ultra marathon? Do you think you could run a marathon? Do you think you could do a coast to coast?
Yes.
There you go. He thinks you can do a coast to coast. That's saying. Okay? Talk is cheap, isn't it? You know, like anybody can say that. Everybody here can say, yeah, I can do a coast to coast. It's a piece of cake. Everybody can say that.
That would be the mind over matter.
Yes, eventually. So let's get to that. I'll come to that. So you can say, right, I'm going to go. And then the next part of it is, I say, okay, great. We're going to start next week. Okay? We're going to start tomorrow. Craig goes, okay, so what actually happens in that point there, this is, I got this from another speaker. This is your normal conscious mind and your subconscious mind, and this is your action, okay? So here we've just inputted into Craig's mind and said, hey, this is the talk part. Hey, do you want to run a coast? Do you want to do a coast to coast? He says, yeah, sure, I can do that. So what we're going to do, we're starting tomorrow, Craig. So that way we've got to put it into his subconscious mind, the deeper part of him. He goes, wait a minute, you'll see a reaction. If I said to you, can you run a coast to coast? You might say, yep, I can do that. If I say we're starting tomorrow, you go, oh, wait a minute. I've got, I've got my appointments, and maybe 3 months' time, come back to me, and da 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 da. And that's this why, if you like, this coast to coast has been thrown into here, and all the X's in there going, I don't know about that, and it just pushes it back out and pushes it back into here again. And then that's the shouldn't I do the coast to coast? And you weigh it up inside your subconscious and go, no, and you can see, I can see in people when I'm training, I can see straight away that that's gone in there, and you can see it moving around, and then you can see it spit out, okay, or stay in there. So if we go back again, subconscious mind, saying it, now you're doing it. Should I, shouldn't I? You're getting into the commitment of it. Can I commit to the movement? Can I commit to the activity? Can I commit to coast? Can I commit to doing an exercise regime? Can I commit to getting out of a chair? You know, if you don't get it can be just as simple as getting out of a chair, but you're still making the commitment. That's what you're talking about. You've got to actually get yourself on board, your whole self on board, your conscious and subconscious on board to actually execute the movement. Execute the exercise regime, or exercise the coast to coast. So you get into, once you start into then you start into the action. So if it makes it down here and stays there, then you're off. You've committed to it. When you've committed to it, you now have your pedal to the metal. You're actually participating in the action. Okay, so your being progresses from efforting, I can't better get up, got to do the coast to coast. Becomes a habit. I've got to do my exercise regime. I go once, twice, 3 times a week, and then it becomes part of what you do. I exercise all the time. I don't go, well, I must do my exercise and blah, blah, blah. I've done it so many times, I don't even think about it. I just turn up. It's such a habit. And it takes time for the why to get into the subconscious and get enough room and get enough of you on board so that it just becomes a part of what you do. And that's the commitment to the energy. The more the commitment, the greater the action. You know, if you're half-hearted in it, you go, oh yeah, I'll do it for a bit, and then, oh, you know, that's my sister's birthday today. Oh, I won't do my exercise today because I see it all the time. I have people come in and they go, yeah, I'm going to come 3 times a week, and and I can hear it in their voice even when they're saying it. Then they're not going to do it. They're not on board. They're just not committed to the. They're not totally committed. There's a story about, I don't know how true it is, but it's about some general who takes his army. He wants to take an army across to fight some enemy, and he has 30,000 soldiers, and he takes 300 because those 300 are the only committed ones, and he takes them across the island, and then he burns the boats. And what does burning the boats mean? There's no turning back. So if you make a decision, this is what commitment is that if you make a decision to do an exercise regime, if your mind is not totally on board, there'll be little holes that pop out all over the place. Oh, my sister's birthday, oh, I'm a bit tired today, oh, the boss said, you know, I've got to stay back to work, blah, blah, blah. And this is it.
It's got to be flexible, you too hard on yourself.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying...
You've got to be realistic too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got ways that you just got to be know yourself.
Yes,
and,
definitely.
And for some people, they might see their personality to do post-stroke, and others just have to have a relaxed walk.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling anybody here to do coast to coast. I haven't done coast to coast myself. I haven't done coast to coast myself. So I'm not telling anybody to do that. I'm saying it's just the action itself, any action. If you're committed to the action will happen. If you're half-hearted about it, then you will come up with excuses, not life situations, you know, like if your car breaks down and you can't get to the gym, or you can't do your exercise or whatever it might be. It's not that. Coming back from that, if you think about your ultimate total commitment, you think about an Olympian, they're the best in the world. How do you think they got to the best in the world? You know, they had to, you know, they probably, in those instances you're saying, they probably still did it.
It depends what your focus is.
Exactly. You're not after gold medal, are you?
Have a total focus on it. But
Yeah. Totally. I hear that. And so that's important to get that. What he's saying is that, you know, I'm talking about if you want an action to happen, then you actually commit to it. He's actually saying that, okay, we've got a gym program, we've got, you know, I've got art classes, and I've got this one, I've got a spray of things I'm doing, and I'm doing all of them. And today, the art classes, they've got, you know, a special speaker coming in for the art classes. Well, I'm going to go and do that. It doesn't mean you've lost your commitment to your exercise regime. It's just that you're not going for Olympic gold medal, so you don't need to go 4 times a week. This week, because the art person is giving a speech for 2 days, you can go and do that for two days and miss your gym and do something else. So it's not about that. It's about being really clear about where you're making excuses, and therefore, you know, your actions will speak where your commitment actually is. Because I've seen people who do say that there, but not denying where you're from, what you're saying, but they'll go 4 times a week, and then something turns up, so it's 3 times a week, and then they go, oh geez, 3 times a week, geez, I'm really losing it. Is it really worth it? I guess it is. Oh, and then something else, 2 times, oh God, I can't be, I'm just paying money for nothing. And then suddenly now they're not doing their gym, they're just slowly had to go. And the reason is that they didn't make the commitment in the first place. So they weren't all on board. That's more the point about that. Yeah.
You need to be happy in what you're doing though, right?
Absolutely.
So like if you're doing something you don't really like,
oh, don't do it, please.
your energy levels aren't going to lie anyway, are
they? Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, but saying that in terms of movement, I'm an advocate for movement. So you need to find some movement.
Yeah.
Your body wants to move. I didn't make that up, and it's not a thing it's the body is made to move. So you have to find some movement. It doesn't have to be the gym.
Yeah.
People hate the gym.
News Talk CB says any movement is better than no movement.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I do all my exercises. It's
Yeah.
difficult, but I bloody do.
Good on you.
Each day.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic.
The
Yeah.
exercise is good.
I find that when I set myself a goal and make a commitment,
Yep.
that's a positive. I tend to attract people on board.
Yeah.
And they absorb my energy. It reflects. It just, but you can't see
Definitely,
it.
yeah.
You can't see it,
No. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
but you can feel it.
Definitely. Yeah. So, like for instance, if you're, as an example, if you want to go to a gym, I'll just use the gym. Then what happens is you start to, your mind starts to look for and see gyms, because that's, and then you start to see people wearing gym gear, and then you start to, so you start to move in a world of gyms. So whether it be gyms or art classes or archery, like if I was into archery, I'd probably start to see lots more archery around Christchurch. And I'd probably go to, Rebel Sport and I go, oh, there's the archery stuff there. But if I wasn't in archery, I'd walk straight past it. But I start to see the archery stuff there. I'd start to, and then I'd see other people who are into archery as well. And I'd probably meet more people there. And so, yeah, you start to live in the world of archery then, or gyms or jazz.
You attract people with the same dynamic, same interests.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Like
attract
here we are.
them.
Why are we all here?
Well, you just have to keep open-minded things, and things I was interested in past and might not be now. We change, should we, simply,
Yeah, sure. It doesn't matter.
Us, that we're not the same through experiences and things happening.
It doesn't matter. Like the movement
That's
doesn't
what
matter.
I've been saying
Yeah.
is that if we give open-minded, things that we were interested us in the past
Yeah.
might not interest us now or in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
When I used to play tennis, I gave it up years ago. I used to run, but but then there's other things. But it doesn't matter. I don't think we should put too much pressure on ourselves.
No, don't put pressure on yourself.
Hmm?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The movement doesn't matter.
No.
You can do any movement you want. In fact, as you said, any movement you like. You don't like it, find another thing. It doesn't matter. You don't find a child going, children are great. I'm a granddad now. The children are great. They just go, oh, I must go to the gym and do my exercise. They just go around, run around and play, Then they go, they call their friends over there, yeah, let's play. They don't care whether they're playing ball or whatever, they just hands around, let's go,
But it's also movement of mental ideas too, not just, it's the physical, but also, like we're coming here, exchanging ideas and,
Yeah.
it's just.
It's all energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the more you stay open to what's in front of you, then the more you're going to allow that energy to flow through you.
Some people find it difficult to get out of bed in the morning.
They do. Yeah. So what would you suggest they do?
Just do it. Just put your leg out onto the floor and just do it.
Okay, you think about that, what you just said. So you just get your leg and just take your leg and put it out on the floor. I think it's great. And why is that great? Because you bypass the narrative that says, oh, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. You bypass that whole thing and you get straight into the action. Okay? All right. So, building your mind muscle, you and focused attention, okay? It's different from your body muscle. Your mind muscle is not stiff. It's not like, I've got to do this, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's just your ability to focus on one thing and not get distracted by the mind. So the one thing that you just talked about was the foot out of the bed. You didn't get distracted by, it's so cold outside, so much nice to stay for another half hour. You didn't get distracted by it. You focused on one thing. Yoga, I talked about headstands, 45-minute headstands. I studied under another guy years ago, and when I was chasing different mind states, and he, at one point, I got up to doing 25 minutes of non-stop push-ups. And that's because I just focused totally on that one thing. And I didn't let my mind get in there and go, oh, I'm getting tired, da, 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 da. It wasn't like that at all. I was able to just keep on focusing on one thing. Driving a car. If you're driving a car and you're distracted by your text or you're distracted by the person talking to you, That's not the one thing. It's not a good place to get distracted by your mind. And it's an example of being focused on one thing. Okay, so you've got a main focus that's going on the road and staying on the road. You can still have a chat here. You know, you might poke across or whatever, but you're still focusing on the one thing that's in front of you, which is driving your car. We're going to have an activity right now. Okay, so what I want you to do is close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I want you to focus on your left big toe. Left big toe there. Now I want you to leave that and move across your body and down to your right big toe. Now I want you to come up your body and come up to the tip of your nose. Not let it touch it. Now go across to your right shoulder. Now I want you to multiply 3 times 3. Now I want you to go across to your left shoulder. Now I want you to spell cat backwards. Now I want you to hear the speaking outside the room. Now I want you to hear the air conditioning. Okay, what were you doing there? What do you think? What? Yes, you were centering, yeah. But what else were you doing apart from that?
Mindful.
Yeah, being quite mindful, eh? Yeah, you were focusing in. You were focusing on, I took you to different places, I took you down. The body's such a great place to take you out of your head. So one of the reasons why movement's so good, if I take you into exercises where you're doing exercises, like for instance, and if you've been in the gym before, if I say, here, do a 100 kilo bench press, you can't be thinking about stuff, the office and the boss that gave you a hard time and da-da-da. You are so focused on that moment on pushing that weight, or the yoga stand, or the, if you're doing yoga posture, you might be holding that position. Or if you're doing Tai Chi, it might be that movement there, and you're totally in your body. So the body becomes a really good place where you can practice your attention. You start to build your mind muscle so that you begin to have more control over your mind, rather than your mind go, I don't want to do that. And you go, wait a minute, focus, attention, I am going to do that. Because you've had practice. So movement becomes a tool where you can actually use, and the more intense the tool is, the more intense the exercise is, as you increase your intensity, your focus, your mind is able to then pull more and more into being able to focus its attention on one thing. So we just had our first mind gym session by focusing on feet, toes, each toe. Inside, we focused in on our thoughts. I said, spell cat backwards. And you had to see cat. Guarantee you all saw cat backwards. You saw cat and you went T-A-C. Guarantee if you're a bad speller, this is a really good way to actually teach you to spell. Is actually to teach you to say spell the word backwards. That teaches you to spell, because you actually have to see it backwards and you have to visualize it. Good spellers visualize the word. So if you want to learn to be a good speller, that's how you can do it.
I've got a good one for you.
Yeah.
When I went to a neurologist
Yes.
2 years or 18 months ago, Mari was with me and she said, I'm going to give you an exercise and I don't get you to do it well because it's a standard exercise. I want you to start at 100 and go down in increments of 7 and see where you get.
Yeah, same thing.
You've probably heard it.
No, I haven't heard of it. I can hear where it's going.
193, 86, 79, 72, 65, 58, 51, 44, 37, 30, 23, 16, 9, 7, 2, plus 14, 7 to 98, we've got 2. And she said to me, you're going to qualify for this procedure you're here for. She fell over, wet herself, died on the floor in the corner. Now tell me, how could I do that? I was always quite good with figures, numbers. But how could I do that at the flick of an eyelid?
Yeah.
How do you do that? You explain that, because I couldn't.
Well,
But I
in
did
the
it.
same, like, you're the cat person spelled backwards with supercalifragilisticexpialidocious spelled backwards.
Cat
You're
spelled
just-
backwards was very easy for me.
Yeah, it sure was. Yeah. You're quite a visual person. So you probably assimilate your information, or you know, like you.
So differently to other people.
Yeah.
So good at some things and so absolutely hopeless at others.
Yeah, that's like anything. Like,
Yeah, that's basically what I say.
that's like,
We're all like that.
yeah, some people are good.
I just wanted to recreate my one good one.
Yeah, very good. That was awesome.
Great.
Great example. Yeah. So you went inside. You go inside and you actually see those numbers quite clearly. You probably, like, if anybody knows their tables, you go 99, 81.
Yeah.
You don't think about it, do you? Because you
Just
said
don't.
it so
But
many
that
times.
that was not, I mean, I've told that one a few times.
Yeah. So
But that time the neurologist said it to me, Malvina Sharma. She said it to me and it was the first time I'd ever heard it.
yeah,
And it just came out.
It's
She
quite
was shattered.
visual. Yeah. You're incredibly visual in that particular with
That
numbers.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Maybe if we said, like, can you see the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah.
The top there, you both go, oh, I don't
Do you think maybe it's because there was an incentive?
No.
I
No?
think
I
you
don't
need
know,
more
I
incentive
don't know
than
what
that,
the
don't you think?
procedure was going to be. She was teasing me on anyway, so I had no insight of it. But it's interesting to use the subject in the way it was said, my mind's eye earlier in the session.
Yes.
It took, and there's another thing. So I've had 2 brain injuries,
Yes.
and so your long-term brain is actually quite good. It's your short-term one that's had to heal,
Yes.
and it is now. But my mind's eye takes me back to a 1960 hit from the Small Faces in my mind's eye, and that's the first thing I'm going to do when I get home is play it, and just see how much interest is. It's probably all about psychedelic drugs and all that sort of thing in my mind's eye, compared with how you presented it before.
Yeah, it's probably got some
It's a good
some
song
crossover
too.
there somewhere, but
Yeah, it's a good song.
some crossover at least.
Sorry.
Very good. No, that's good. Thanks very much for that. That was great. Actually. So you're gonna. So what I was talking about is you're gonna look. Why I'm saying this is I'm trying to get you to get a feeling for what it is, so that you can get good at it, so that you can learn to work. What are you going to focus on? If you know you're not supposed to focus on, say, you want to get out of bed. You know that the thoughts are coming up. I don't want to get out of bed. And you go, right. That's me focusing on, because that's all you're doing. The body just does whatever the thoughts are. So if the thought says, I'm tired, then you're tired. When I did the press-ups for the time I did, if I said I was tired, I couldn't do another press-up. I would go into, my body would go, I'm tired. If I listened to that thought, I was tired. Because I said I was tired. I was tired. But because I paid attention and embodied the thought, I was tired. So if you go, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to get out of bed. If you focus on that thought, I don't want to get out of bed, you won't get out of bed. But if you go, like she did, she cut that thought out and said, just take that foot and put it over there, you know? So she's focused now on this new thought, take that foot and take it over there. It's just what you focus on. It's not to feel guilty. The more you feel guilty, the harder it's going to be, because you're going to create another narrative around the guilt. So just see, that's what I'm focusing on. Wow, that's interesting, I'm really focusing. That's why I get really curious about my thoughts. I'm thinking about that, you know, I'm doing that. I've got a choice. I've got a choice to think that I want to get out of bed or I want to get out of bed. I've got that choice. If you know you've got the choice, that's the secret. That's the secret sauce. If you know you've got the choice and you don't feel guilty about the choices that you choose, that's the hard part. Because people tell you, you're bad. You stay in bed, it's bad. You should be out of bed. You're lazy. And it goes along with it. That's the guilt and the narrative that builds up around it. And if you just go, that's the thought that I'm thinking. I don't want to get out of bed. I do want to get out of bed. Which one am I going to focus on? You know, if you want the energy, which one are you going to focus on? Everybody wants energy. All right. Next one. So this is one of the best tools. That's why I'm getting a little bit excited about it. This is one of the best tools for gaining agency over your life situation. So your life situation, some people go, and I wrote that in, I thought, should I write that down? Because your life is like, oh my God, this is my life. It's so big. I've got this, and I've got my family. And no, your life is in this room right now. You're sitting here, we're talking to each other. This is our life. So if you want to have energy right now in this seat right now, then just choose it. You know, that's how simple it can be. You can just go, right, I want to feel some vibes now. I want to feel some upbeat now. Now, I say that, and it's true. What I say is true, and that's my experience that it's been true. But I also know the experience is it just doesn't happen. You know, you go there, go, what the hell? What am I in for? I'm sitting here, you know, the mind just kicks off. It just goes, I can't get energy right now. I'm sitting in a chair, and what's he talking about? What's he know about my life? Blah blah blah, and then it takes off and it goes on, and that's the subconscious mind. I've just got that, remember that diagram I put in, the X and the Y. I've got a Y thought, and I've just thrown it into your X subconscious, and your X subconscious has said, what the hell does he know about my life? You know? And it just closes that thought down and spits it out. But like I said, this is your life right now. You have a choice right now to have energy or not have energy. And if you can start to, just at an intellectual level, start to understand that what I'm saying is true, then you'll start to entertain it and start to work with it. And it's not going to happen straight away. I've been working on this for years.
So can I feed off your energy?
In rapport, yeah, you know, when you get around people who are up, you tend to get up too. So yeah, and you can get down, get into a party, and there's people, you know, some angry person. Next thing you know, there's a fight breaking out because angry people are bringing out anger in other people. So that's the best time to leave, you know. Right. So what are some examples of focused attention that people use? They use breathing. Your breathing techniques. And if you've been on the net, you might have heard of different breathing. I'm not going to go into all these. There's lots of different ones. And there's experts in the area. I have my own breathing techniques. I'm not an expert on it with different types. I know it works for me. It doesn't matter what you do. I don't care what experts say. It also doesn't matter what you do. It just matters that you find something. Anything, like you said, anything that you're interested in and are consciously focusing your attention on. It doesn't matter. If you're into art or into music, it doesn't matter. Get into it and get into it wholly and get your focus into it but while you're doing it, see that you're the one who's actually opening up to the activity that's in front of you. You're the one opening up to it. I could go to music and I go, it doesn't really, it's okay. I do like music, but I might say that, or someone else might say that. But for you, you're into it totally. Exercise, I'm into totally. That's my place, but it's my tool as well. Exercise has become my tool for opening up to this energy that I'm talking about. Yes.
So what you're saying is, say for example, you focus on breathing.
Yes.
You actually then apply those skills of breathing and then transfer it to other areas.
Yes, totally. Totally.
That's the question.
That's a great question. That's exactly what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what you do. It just matters that you do something.
Breathing
That-
is a fuel.
Yeah.
When you breathe in, it feeds the
Yeah.
the red blood cells which carry
Yes.
oxygen around and
So it's great
nurtures
exercise.
the body.
Yeah, it's great. That's why it's so good. But if you're passionate about music, you're going to be breathing. You're going to be like, yeah, you're going to be breathing. You're not going to be consciously thinking about it. You're just into the activity. There's no force. There's just total passion and aliveness and focusing on it. But take that, what you just learned from there, and take it out of there and go, right, I was the one who opened up to that. I used music, or I used exercise. I used it to open up. Exercise didn't do it. It was me getting involved in the exercise that did it. So I've started to get agency over my own energy. So when I get into a situation of, like the next event that comes in, and it's a bad event, I have a choice at that point to go, is this a bad event, or is this can I then go, people might say, what do they say? Find the good in it. What does that mean? Find the good in it. It means there's an event coming in. I'm looking at it like a bad event. Find the good in it. The event's the event. It doesn't possess badness in it or goodness in it. I possess the badness or goodness by the way I'm responding to that event. So therefore my energy goes up or down accordingly.
I think singing is great.
It's beautiful. I love singing.
Choirs and things, very nice.
So
singing
you
in
sing.
the house.
That's where your heart opens up, and
love
there's some
singing.
definitely better types of activity that will lend themselves to learning about this more so. Like yoga would be one, meditation would be one, yoga would be one, music is one, painting, because they bring in a soul element, like a heart element. So they bring, when you really love something, it's so much easier to get involved in it. You have passion for it. And like you said, if you don't like something, don't do it. Do something that your energy opens up to, and you have some aliveness around it.
It's like,
Whereas it just gets up.
yeah, we need to go things to try it, because otherwise you will keep the first mind. We don't know sometimes what we're going to be interested in. At least we try it. Yeah, try it.
Yes. Well, I'm just being told I've been given. So, talking about exercise, I hadn't focused on exercise, but exercise is just a way. Movement is one of those things you can use, and I did speak about that briefly. It's got so many ways that you can focus attention, and as you increase the intensity of exercise or fitness or movement, then you increase your focused attention. It takes you out of your head. You can't be thinking about that. You're feeling down, you're in your head. Move. You come into your body then. Okay? So when I said go into your toes, you're not thinking about your problems. You're thinking about your toe right now. Guarantee, if anybody came in here with thinking had problems, if you started thinking about your toes, that was it. You were in your toes. Nothing else existed but your toes. And then your other toe. Then your shoulder.
My father-in-law has pretty toes.
Does he?
Yeah, he's proud of his toes. He's got pretty toes. Pretty toes.
So there, I've said that before, it doesn't matter what the movement is, it's just better if the movements help you focus, and then focus more intensely so that there's more attention and less distraction. So it doesn't matter what it is. Find what you love to do and do it, and get involved with it, and learn from it. Learn some of the things I'm talking about. You're the one who's opening or closing to that particular activity. You're the one opening or closing your energy. So I've given you lots of different examples of different movements that you could do: yoga, tai chi, walking, standing, sitting in chairs, depending on what your level is. Like I said, if I have a new client come in, I have to look at where they're at. So what I prescribe to them is going to be based on who they are, what they can do. I ask so many questions. When you come to me, sit down in front of me, I'm asking you lots of questions. So I want to know as much about you as possible so I know how to prescribe for you. Mike, move like Mike. Mike's a client of mine, he's a cerebral palsy guy. And Mike, when I first met him, he walked like this. He was like this. Okay? And so that was his basic way of walking. And so we've now got him walking bilaterally, so he's now able to move with opposite hands. So I'll try and do that. That way, yeah. I don't pay attention. Can't do it myself. So bilaterally. So I took a video of him. I think it was the end of. He's now gone down to Dunedin to study medicine. So I haven't seen him I've seen him on and off for 12 months. I haven't seen him the last 12 months. And I took a video of him, the last one. I didn't bring the video, didn't get the video on this here. But after I took the video of him, he walked across the floor and did it quite, just how he's now being taught. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh my God," he said, "I can't believe it." He said, "I'm almost normal." My heart really opened up the fact that he actually said that. Also to the fact that he said, "I'm almost normal." I'm thinking, no, you're really quite a normal guy, quite normal. But in terms of, he was talking in terms of his movement. And his movement was it's improved so much. And one of the things I wanted to do here as a movement, but I don't think it's really conducive to it, was that one of the last things we got to with Mike, and it might be good if you have struggled walking, we got into our bodies already, is that we started playing this game, sort of like not creepers, what do they call it? You were just saying grandma or something.
Sneak up granny.
What is it?
Sneak up granny.
Sneak up granny. We didn't say that.
Promises.
And what it is if you haven't played before, someone puts their head against the wall and then everybody else creeps up and the person turns around and sees them, then you have to go back to the start again and make your way up. And when you get to the end, you tag them and then they can chase you back. So
Squid Games.
Squid Games. Is that right? So what we pretended was that we were playing this game. We didn't really play it, but we pretended. And what I was basically getting him to do is because he didn't have a lot of feeling in his feet, was to come down, bring his awareness down into his feet. And so we would do this and just do really slow walks. And I wanted him to get down into his feet and feel his feet. And that helped him tremendously because he was so much in his head and I don't want to fall over and stuff like that. So when I got down into his feet, his awareness became now more into his legs. Because he's got a lot of awareness in his upper body, but not much in his lower body. So by doing this activity, it brought him down into his legs and brought his awareness down into his legs. So things like that anyways can actually be beneficial for if you do have struggles with your gait or your walk, is to get down into your body, get into your feet and feel your feet. Because that brings more aliveness, more life down into your legs, this half down. And then from there, you have more, you wakes up your nervous system and blood supply and everything else that goes down there. So that might be an example you can use. Oops. All right. So why move? Why focus attention? Why mental muscle? I think I've gone into that already. So it changes your life experience, your energy, one moment at a time. Any time, any place, any choice. You have a choice of what you focus on. Your conditioning has developed certain muscles. So that's why I talked earlier on about being boxed into certain boxes. Because you view life events in the way that you view them now. Those that are arising now and will do in the future. This is causing you to view an event like the rain as good or bad. And therefore experience your life with the energy you are viewing that event with. So you have conditioning that says rain is terrible. Rain's terrible. So now your life now is the way you look at rain, the way you look at stuff, the way you look at your life is now being viewed by that type of conditioning. And you have to break it down. That's why I say it's not easy, because you've got to break down remember that X that went into the Y? You've got to break your conditioning down so that you get more Y's inside that bottom subconscious that says, yes, I can get out of this bed here, I can get out, I'll give that a go. That's the why going in there and getting past all the exercise. I can't be bothered, what are these people doing this for? You know, they're just a bunch of idiots anyway, blah, 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 you know. Whatever the thoughts that go on in your head. So it's about getting down into there and going, yes, where can I access that energy? And you need to do that by doing small things. So what I've said here, there'll be different events you won't want to let go. That's why you start with small weights, like the gym, like the rain. It's so easy. The rain right now is, oh my God, it's raining again. I hate the rain, my God. And blah, 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 blah. You can start with smaller things like rain and go, right, okay, the rain's the rain. How can I change that? How can I change thinking around that?
So if
Don't start with the big things.
so, if a person's had some brain damage,
Yes.
how does that
Right.
affect this process?
Yeah. Okay, so doesn't matter who you are. Okay, you're on the everybody's on a spectrum. Okay, so the spectrum is from here to here. You've got the Olympian down here, if you like, for movement, and you've got people brain challenges down here. You have to go with whatever you can do at the time. It might be all you can do is lift one leg up and down. I don't know what your situation is. It made it difficult for me to know what exercises, what activities to do here, because I don't know who I'm talking to. So it's about what's happening with you right now. What can you do right now that. But the biggest thing why I've gone to where I've gone is if you don't have the mindset right, then the mindset will overrun how much energy you'll put into lifting that leg up or down. So the mindset's got to be right first. You've got to be, I'm going to have to go with that. I'm going to have a go at that, lifting my leg up.
Your personal philosophy, you have to look at I mean, you've got professional philosophy, but you can go philosophy, personal philosophy, on how to deal with things. Taking things, accepting things, and
So that's going to be your narrative.
Going to be fast, and just that's what I'm saying. Your own philosophy.
Yeah. So your philosophy
on your life and how to deal with yourself and other people. Yeah.
So what I'm asking is that philosophy serving you? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. If it is, great. Yeah. If you go, I'm going to give that a good go, then that's your philosophy. If it's one of these, if your thoughts are looking at, I can never do that.
But if you miss out on one thing, then another opportunity comes along.
That's your philosophy. It's great.
I mean, that
opens you up.
But we can all do that.
We can, but we don't. That's because your philosophy, your narrative, your way of looking things says, yeah, we can do that.
No, I've been stuck on things in the past, and it causes problems.
That's right. You changed it. You changed it. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a spiritual philosophy. That in itself is a toolbox.
Yes, so whatever the toolbox, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. All right. So I know this is the last one. Okay. Knowing, even if it's just intellectual at this point, you have a choice as to where or what to put your focus on. There's always a choice. In any moment that comes, any event, I used to call them life events, they just keep coming in. Someone told me life just keeps coming in point blank. It just keeps coming in. It never stops. Have you noticed? It never stops. It never stops. So you can start you change by first sharpening your focus. So we worked on sharpening, thinking about where your toes, the centering, the exercises that you might do, the vehicle that you use. So you must increase the intensity to improve your ability to focus, to become more in charge of where you put your focus. Otherwise, the mind's going to grab hold of you and just take you somewhere, which it's been doing. It does with everybody. It says, no, I can't do it today. I'm too tired. Blah, blah, blah. So practice on the easy stuff first. You can't practice on, if you've got some big stuff you can't just change it and go and take yourself away from it. You can change on the little stuff. And the little stuff is, we talked about rain. It's easy to change stuff about the rain, or someone, you're waiting in line and someone lets someone else in front of you. I'm back another one now. You can change. You don't have to make that you don't have to get all down about it and get them to tell them to get at the back of the line and stuff like that. So you gradually have the ability to change your focus and therefore your experience, because the experience keeps coming. You gradually the more you have the ability to change that focus, the more you can change the experience, and therefore the energy that comes with it. Once you get the energy you experience, therefore you improve the quality of life one moment at a time. Because life, that's how life comes to you. It comes at you one moment at a time. It's not my life, I've got to change my life, I've got to change this, and the house and home and the kids and da da da. It's not that. It's what's happening this moment right now. This is the moment that we're in. And if you can change this moment right now, and know that this moment right now you can go, right, I've got a choice right now. It doesn't mean you should jump in your skin, we all jump up and down. It's just, can you?
My grandmother always said, stop and smell the roses.
It's the same thing. Yeah, stop and smell the roses, yeah. Why does those sayings come? Stop and smell the roses. Where do they come? Okay. Any questions?
I was an alcoholic for 35 years, so this has been very helpful.
Okay.
I do have a choice now.
Yeah. And you obviously made it because
I have.
if you look at your life and where it is now, we're going on a path for different thoughts that your narratives that you had. You went right. You made some decision like that, getting out of bed, and you went right. I'm going down this path, and that's why you're here. I mean, that's why we've all made choices today, and that's why we're here now. That's why we're sitting in this chair right now. Yes.
Thank you so much. It was just enormously helpful.
Well,
And,
great.
yeah, and it made me think one of our board members here is Ted, and he's written an amazing memoir because he was paralysed and then learned to walk again.
Yes.
And his memoir's written with positive psychology, and the two things he taught me were just remember it could always be worse, the event that you're going through, and also in my case it was brain injury from a brain tumour.
Yes.
And the other thing is actually it could be better because it happened.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
Like what you were saying just
Exactly.
made me think of that. Once you start believing that, things can go well.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So here, that's really good.
Do you have any other questions in the room? Charlie.
Yes.
Charlie's my personal trainer. He's a solid man. And I've learned so much from him. I've learned an immense amount today. Just focusing, stuff he talked about has been really pertinent to us all, I'm sure. Quite ironic he made it rain overnight.
Yeah.
What?
Quite ironic he made it rain.
Oh, yes.
What's that about?
Positive thinking.
Yeah,
Positive thinking, yeah, definitely positive thinking. It's definitely a positive approach. If you want to stay and have a cup at the back of the room, you're most welcome to. I'm sure might be a biscuit or two left there. And have a chat with Charlie as well. He'll be around. We do have a Thrive chat on Monday for those of you who are interested. We have an activity coming up, and then we have another speaker series. So this happens again in next month. April, February, March, April. Yeah, April, next month.
Yeah.
That is next month as of yesterday. Yes. Moving on. But thank you, Charlie.
Thanks.
Amazing effort.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Just thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
All right, wrap it up. Give me a hand, everyone.
Yeah.